In our ordinary life, most of us assume our perceptions to be true, our life story to be continuous, and to be founded in reality. The purpose of this Mosaic meditation is to bring you to an understanding of how each moment of your life is like a mosaic with multisensory tiles with sound and shape and color and smell and taste placed deeply into the grout of your being to form a picture. Most of the time this is very useful. It allows us to live our lives. But the purpose of this meditation is to help you in those places in your life where there are problems, where it doesn't work. And how is that happening? And how can you change it? And how can you move the tiles around to make a better picture? At the base, and simply, we need to see how the tiles are made. What is it that we put together to make that picture? When we look closely at our perceptions, the sensation of capital T truth, the sensation of capital C continuous, the sensation of capital R reality isn't true. We see and touch and feel and taste and smell and hear and think and react to only a small portion of the available incoming stimuli in our own central nervous systems at any one time. Our brain selects from these incoming electrical signals just a portion to create a simulation of the outside and inside world that it can use to meet the next moment. In our species, evolution has honed this process over generation upon generation upon generation and species upon species upon species. The brains that made a more successful simulation to be more skillful in the environment in which they found themselves, passed on that DNA that made that brain to the next generation. It's an extraordinarily successful system, and it should be honored. But in that process of making that successful simulation is a clue to why we needlessly suffer. Because the selection process is not perfect, neither is the assembly, and some truth is always left out. In the classic Eastern meditation tradition, it is clearly spoken to, especially in the Satipatthana Sutta on the foundations of mindfulness. In that sutta, the Buddha described 6 sense bases: the sense of vision, the sense of hearing, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense in the body, and the sense of mind. Interesting thing that mind is a sense. And those 6 sense bases find 5 mind objects. The material form of the body itself and of things outside the body. The feeling that begins to arise with contact with that form through any of the 6 sense bases. The perception that arises, where the qualities of what is perceived are noted the recognition of what it is that is arising occurs, and the remembering of what is perceived as having been perceived somehow before. After perception comes formation, volitional, intellectual, emotional relationships of what has just been perceived. And out of that comes consciousness of what is perceived. Something that the brain can use to make a decision about the next moment. The Buddha defined those 5 aggregates as dukkha, the basis for suffering. All of these are aggregates: the material form, the feeling, the perception, the formation, the consciousness arise together in any mind moment. All arise dependent on causes and conditions, and are themselves causes and conditions for the next mind moment. Not knowing this, not acting on that knowledge, leads to suffering. Now let's bring ourselves forward 2,500 years to modern neuroscience. The picture of what the brain is consciously aware of is probably best described as a simulation. A book by Dr. V.S. Ramachandran, a neuroscientist, which is titled Phantoms in the Brain, describes a good number of the ways in which the brain creates what we're perceiving at the moment. This is work based on traumatic limb amputations and the perception of a phantom limb, and other clinical cases caused by stroke or tumor or degenerative conditions in the brain. His conclusion is that conscious awareness is a useful working hypothesis, a creative simulation of the inside and the outside world. Let me read you a couple of quotes to help set up this meditation. Perceptions emerge as a result of reverberations of signals between different levels of the sensory hierarchy, and indeed even across different senses. Pain is an opinion on the organism's state of health, rather than a mere reflexive response to injury. There is a deeper message here. Your own body is a phantom, one that your brain has temporarily constructed purely for convenience. Now, why would the central nervous system do something like that? There are functional, computational advantages, preservation of neural real estate, to making a perception fixed and irrevocable. It allows us to act with reasonable certainty in an environment that comes at us second by second by second by second by second. So therefore, there must be a functional circuit, a relationship among neurons that establishes a perception as a fact in order to eliminate hesitation and to confer certainty to decision-making processes that have to be done in real time. Beliefs about ourselves and others should be more tentative and revocable, subject to revision based on new data. Taking beliefs as fact is opening ourselves to suffering. In the places where we suffer, we need to look at how our beliefs are constructed. I will be asking you to do a deep meditation here. So you will need quiet. You'll need time and a sense of focus, and perhaps even a time to recover after the meditation. I'll ask you to bring that sense of safety, to bring your steady focus of awareness, and to bring your strength and joy to this meditation. Let's begin.